Okay, good evening. Thank you for being here. I thought at first we have a couple things, few things to get into. Uh, the question by Sassoon last week, which we just touched on for a moment, but I thought it was a question that would affect a lot of people. So the question was, okay, so basic, you're being pushed by energies, okay? And it reaches a point where it's really getting tight. The energies are really getting tight, and uh, I think Sassoon mentioned it feels like they're like it's a knot. Now, when you're playing a two beat, is what our discussion was last week, in whatever form. So whether it's up down energies or whatever, uh, potentially it could you could get pushed into very tight. Now, if you're trying to use a two beat to untie that, it doesn't work very well, or maybe not your best shot. Another possibility in dealing with a real knotted tightness uh, is what I might call the Houdini effect. I just make these words up as I go along, right? The Houdini effect. Uh, let's not try to untie the knot. Let's use a different form. So the form that I suggested to Sassoon was to shift to the I self, easy the I, settle down, breathe, here and now, calm. Not I'm nervous, I'm calm. We're speaking of calm as a field, an enormous field of calm. One of those senseis, real good tricks, if you would. So if you get tied up into a knot, uh, don't try to untie the knot. Shift to easy I, breathe I, settle down I, breathe again, easy the I. And so what we're doing there, I think I need a different color, is shifting uh, to this unit, the I, to a better, finer I, to a better I self, easy, settle, open. Okay. So I'm not dealing with the knots per se. I'm shifted to a different piece of creation, the I self run. As you do that, easy the I, settle, breathe, sense of more space, more openness, easy, breathe, settle down. Um, what will happen is the uh, tied up knot effect will start to unwind a bit. Okay, it'll start to unwind. Now, don't be too fast as you settle, and that was a knot begins to unwind a bit. Don't be too fast to jump and try to go back to doing a twosies practice. But you'll notice the unwinding, hopefully, in a certain way. Okay. Continue a little bit longer with easy the I, finer self, deeper infers finer, hush, whatever are good trigger words for you, or use them all. Okay. And as the tight I returns back to a little better self, again, the knot will untie. When you get to a little better level of self, then if you want to shift from the an I run, an I to self run, to that piece of creation, which is the energies on the move, uh, you'll notice at that time when you're more settled and calm that you can begin to play them as a balance thing, whichever form you use, in and out, center circle, whatever form, he, she, whatever, yin, yang, whatever. Now, as you uh, make that shift from that tight knot to the self, self is a bit better, a bit clearer, a bit easier, then you'll notice a certain level of balance with the energies. Okay. Now, if you want, you shift your attention. I don't want to say focus. I'm not sure how you use that word. You shift your attention. Click. Okay, the energies. As the energies are more harmonious, which is what they're trying to do, to show their balance, their harmony, then you can go back and forth with them. A better balance of energy produces, mixes a better character you with that core center, that self is there. But you're starting to mix up a character who's a little more squared away. Okay. This is an important piece. We got to come back one evening and really major on character. So then when you get a better character, because the energies have mixed up better, you can hang out with that unit, that piece of you, as long as you want. There's no set rules. Let it exercise for a bit or go for a walk as that level character, whatever. And then you can kick back anytime you want into a better character. Now, easy. I'm shifting focus again. Careful of the word focus. Shifting, okay, self. Easy. The self ought to be a little easier with itself there because it's got more room. Because the energies that were tight have opened up, untied, and are more balancing. Okay? So from a character to a better self, you hang out with a better self for a while. How long? Don't know. Whatever you want. A minute, 2 minutes, an hour and a half. Just depends what you're emphasizing in that session. So a better self, naturally, there'll be better in balance energies that'll mix up a better character. I am. Okay. And back and forth. Okay. So I think enough on that. I just thought it was a good question. And I thought a lot of people would appreciate the sense of it being tied in a knot. And I can't untie the knot. So that's why I call it houdini. I think I don't know anything about magic. Dennis, you out there? But he did something else and the knots would get freer and then it could get out. Anyway, I'm not going into houdini because I don't know anything, but I like the word. Okay, tonight's subject. But before we get into emotions, let's go over a basic, which I need for a warm up to the emotional sense of things. So let's go back to a basic. Let's say this color, this red-orange thing here, is a basic pool of energy, and it produces a body that's fairly capable, okay? Maybe I'll walk through that with Katja. Yeah. Lose my pens here. Okay, it's a basic. Okay, so got a job to do. Okay. Now, get off screen. Now, okay, I want to do a better job. So I settle, clear, open, easy to a better dimension where the energies at that dimension more balanced. They mix up and they mix me up as a character. I'm starting to be an EQer. I don't do EQ, but I don't do EQ. I become an EQer. EQers naturally EQs. And that change of hands, I didn't plan on that. I had no sense of doing that. It just happened. I let the EQer, the character, do what he do. Oh, Sensei said to me something like, it is what it is, doing what it does. But don't I have to tell it what to do? Oh, Sensei would say no. Anyway, again, I want to improve. I settle and I open with a sense of a pool of energy or a field of energy that is innately more balanced. Its job is to balance with itself and breed, if you would. I call it mix. And it mixes up a fuller character, a better character. The character is the EQer. Okay? as I do the mix, then it becomes obvious to me how it's improving. Like, in not this one, but the earlier one, the ground connection was very distinct. Okay, so I don't tell it what to do. It shows me how it's working. So, oh, a better level has a better ground contact. Da 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 da. Okay, so I think that's it. Hang on. I think so. Okay, so a basic, let's call it a basic pool of energy to get a fuller body. Okay, I'm doing a Aikido or physical functioning jock, if you would. Okay, so whether you want to walk better, run better, throw better, punch better, whatever, that's basic pool of energy. Okay, we all right? That sounds okay so far? Okay, now the let's say now there are some emotions that emanate from there, but I want to keep it distinct. So let's say a little finer, settle a little finer, a little more open, finer dimension. So this represents a finer dimension because it's lower and we're opening. A finer dimension, I changed the word from energies to qualities. Okay? So some people are naturally closer to it. Others, if they settle a little bit, will begin to touch it. So that varies person to person. Let's say there is a pool of qualities that as it flows, we pick it up and we use emotional words. Okay, we pick up emotions. You begin to feel emotions. Okay, feel emotional. So let's say there's a finer pool of energy that are qualities. Okay, you each have, with everything else, your own mix. Okay, so I don't know. Somebody may effortlessly cry a lot. Okay, somebody else may have they giggle a lot at inappropriate times. So you each have your own. Somebody else may get a little angry, or somebody else may whatever. Okay, we each have our own mix. Okay? A pool of quality energies, of qualities that mix up. Now, as that energy moves through, okay, your system, we can be emotionally affected by that. Where should we go here? I think maybe we could go for a moment on some people don't like to feel emotional. So they've learned how to freeze it out or maybe float up away from it, where they're happy to think about things, but they don't want to feel this. Uh, uh, so again, variety of people, a variety of responses. All I'd like to show here is I'd like to give you another way of dealing with energies and moving into a finer dimension. So the basic eat goer, run faster, punch better, whatever. That's a good basic to start with. But a lot of people are touched more by the emotional reaction. Okay. So I'm giving you another way of playing with energies, finer dimensions, uh, in a form that I think a lot of people might like. They're more related to emotionality than they are in punching. Okay. Lo and behold, though, it works the same way. It's the same setup. Great. We don't have to suddenly change forms. It's the same. So, where are we? Uh, let's continue with why we don't want to, some of us don't want to get anywhere near emotionality. I was playing a little bit during the week, of course, getting ready for this thing. And I was surprised how many, it's almost like, let me find a color here. It's almost like we have old wounds uh, from when we were little kids. And we have these old wounds. And whenever we get close to the emanations from that quality realm, the old wounds get touched and, I don't know, reopened. Okay. So, for example, I was funning around with this, and I remembered the time I was 7, went to the corner store, and my little dog followed me, and he didn't wait on the corner. So I went into the little corner store. He ran across the street, got ran over, got killed. Whoa, I'm 7 years old. I left my little dog. He's dead. And there's a few people gathering, and they were pointing me out as, oh, he's the kid that owns the dog that just got ran over. I remember that in pretty strong detail. So I've got this emotional wound. So when I get close to this, probably that wound is touched as the energies start to go. Is that clear enough, your side? I was talking to Bob Noah, and he mentioned Al. Al was a student of his, and I knew Al also. And Noah was telling me something Al bumped into. Well, he was about 70 or something, in later age. Now, Al in Aikido was never very good, physically proficient, physically capable Aikido student. He hung in there for years, but he wasn't very good at moving around. And Al realized when he was a little kid, he saw a Fred Astaire movie and was fascinated by Fred Astaire dancing. When he got home to his larger family, he wanted to show them what he saw in the movie. He started to dance around, and his aunt or somebody said to him, "That's not right." He never forgot that. That touched him, that wounded him. So you don't move right, and probably he carried that all of his life. He couldn't move right. He was really a bad mover. But he remembered that happened to him along the line. So anyway, I think we're all carrying wounds. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I won't even get into carryovers from past lives. I don't know if you're into reincarnation. We won't get into that one. But yeah. So somebody may not want to settle down and get comfortable with that pool of quality energies, because as they settle down, the old wounds might light up, and they don't want to feel or experience any of those old wounds. So that might be a reason why people don't accept qualities that you call emotional things. For me, there are qualities, and then as the energies move up, then I get more emotional, and then I could maybe even over emote. Okay. So I'm just trying to bring you to the source of things. If you're happy being an emotional person and you enjoy yourself, like yourself, emoting, fine. Go ye and be happy. But I'm a researcher here. I map out the universe. And if you're interested in the finer dimensions of things, and more important, finer dimensions of energies can mix up a better character. Okay? That's important. And that's why it's worth me pursuing this, showing it to you. So, where are we? So the energies would flow or push. Could we use that word? From here, we call it a push. Remember, in one class, I put you in a wind tunnel game so you could feel the push of energies, okay, and how it affected you. And if it pushed you too much, how you were ahead of yourself, off balance, whatever. So you'd be familiar with the beginning signs of a push. Introduce you to the energies by having you lay down, settle down, and then I threatened you with, okay, we're going to do 20 sit-ups or whatever. And most of you felt this rush of energy in some form. What you did with it varied with whoever you are. Some people got excited. Some people said, finally. Some people said, what an asshole Nadeau is, and on and on and on. Just to try to show you that energies are there, and they do affect you, okay? And that I think it'd be cool for all of us to be more familiar on better speaking terms, if you would, mixing terms. So, where are we? Energies that flow through and we become more and more emotional. Okay. I feel like I'm missing something. Hang on a second. Yeah, what am I missing? Uh, I think, yeah, let's see. Uh, I think also the people who should be very interested in this are those who find themselves being emotional and they wonder about why they're being emotional. Okay. Or they find themselves too emotional, whatever that means. Or they find themselves questioning, why am I emotional? Okay. Something is catching their attention. So again, those of you who are unhappy being emotional, I think it's great. Leave me alone. Fine. Go ye and be happy. But I'm talking to those people that are questioning it, that are thinking, no, I think that's a bit much. And no, it happens too often. Something like that. Okay. It's an energy dimension, but it's a finer dimension. And we happen to call those qualities. Okay. So, what are our basics? Uh, Let me go over again what we did in the basic energy red orange line here. Gotcha one more time. Remember the basics. Okay, easy, settle. I know there's a pool of energy because I'm involved in a situation. By law, it has to be there. I settle and I open. I don't think about it. I just open. As I open, it's mixing and it's mixing. I can feel myself widening out already. It's changing my body, mixing, mix. I feel a little bit better grounded. My legs, sense of my legs touching the ground changed. Uh, okay, I think that's a basic. Yeah, basic. And again, we should spend a little more time with the character that gets mixed up. That's very important. Uh, in my early years, pre-Aikido, even, I didn't realize how important character was. Uh, and Sensei's brought it up a lot to me. Character. Okay. So, if basic, if the wimp will settle and open, he probably has a pool of stronger, let's say, energy. If he lets that be there, mixes, partakes of it, breathes it, plays the game, he won't be quite wimpy as wimpy. He'll be a little stronger, and we continue to a point where he doesn't even remember when he used to be wimpy. It's so far in his past because he feels so okay, basic. So what are we doing here? There is a pool of qualities. So if you can get past the old wounds that may hold you back, you shift from into better feeling, you continue to open a sense of being in a pool. Okay. Now, if for any reason you have trouble moving into a deeper, finer dimension, we have. Do you remember in I think one session? I think we're talking about just basic settling to this first pool, and I think that I may have presented it like sometimes it feels like sharp spears coming up at you, and a lot of people don't want to. Okay, here happens in class a lot. You ask a class to settle down, and you'll see some people lock their knees, come up here, and go, okay, Sensei, I heard, just settle down. Yes, I see that. Yes. And they're all locked in. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I've almost seen this kind of thing. Why would they do that? Because something is pushing up against them that's a bit sharp. They don't want to sit. They don't want to sit on a bunch of spears. They don't want to open to sharp stuff coming up through them. I mentioned this to Jack Wada when I was at one point last month or something. And he said, "Oh, you mean the hot poker up your butt?" Yes, that one. So whether there's spears or a hot poker up your butt or whatever, we have a trick. So whether it's the spears coming up at you or the hot poker or too much qualities that are too emotional as they come up, calm. Not I'm nervous, I'm calm. Not that calm. The calm I speak about is Osensei's use of calm. There is calmness, okay? For lack of words, field of calm. Yeah, I sort of wish I had a basic shutter blind. No, not blinds, nande. The thing you pull down on the windows. Shade. I wish I had a shade here. I'd pull it down and cover all this activity and say, that's calm. Are you following me with that? Right. So calmness is more that I'm nervous, I'm calm, right? Since they used it, but I don't think people understood it. So he said in China, when the bullets were being pointed at, they were pointing at him with the bullets, he had to hide out for a moment and go calm. He didn't mean, oh shit, I'm nervous, I got to calm my nervous mind. He went into calmness. Okay, so that's a particular thing that if you're interested, be worth you hanging out with that calmness and just see what your sense of it is. So if you're having any trouble with this great source of emotions called a quality pool, okay, then that's one trick to get through your little wounds or whatever. Then as you using that calm get to a deeper, finer level, you can, for lack of words, step out of the calm travel vehicle into the pool of qualities. Now, what's the pool of qualities trying to do? The same thing as anything else. It's trying to mix up a better character you. Over and over, that's all it's trying to do. Okay? So as we play with dimensionality, as we play with a finer sense of things, finer qualities can show. Okay? So I'm not asking you to fight your way through emotionality, especially for those that are not capable or interested in that. It's too hard for them. Calm to this pool. Now it becomes a sensing. The pool, and you all have your own mixture of qualities that will mixes up a different character. Okay? And that character will be the right character. I trust the system. The character will be the right character with proper emotional response, properness, squared awayness. Okay? Where am I so far? Are we missing anything? Katja, you happy over there? Okay. If you're interested, sit, settle. One possibility might be if you have a tendency towards a certain type of emotional reaction or a way you emote, you could call it up till it sort of comes into play. Well, I giggle a lot at inappropriate times. It's getting embarrassing. Oh, okay, giggling. Easy, settle. Inappropriate giggling. I feel something is coming up and it makes me giggle. Okay. nothing wrong with giggling, but I'm saying giggling at an inappropriate time. Okay? Ah, something is off a little bit. Okay? Or it's okay to cry, but maybe you cry all the time. It's too much. And you're catching it's too much. Okay, so I'm talking to those people. Again, if you're happy with your whatever, I'm happy, you're happy. Okay? I'm talking to those that are inquiring, wondering about this, wondering why that keeps happening, wondering why they stay with it so long. They muse on it and say, huh, what the hell is that about? That's what we're talking about. So that's one trick is to find your most common, settle down, track it, settle down, use the calm, quieting hush. Easy the eye. Oh, I'm going to figure this out. No, 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 no. No busy eye. Easy the eye. So it becomes a sensing self. I like that. Sensing self. Okay. And then taking longer than I'm taking to be in a more original source of that that made you giggle and made you cry or made you angry. Let me remind you here about a story that I told you of my experience when I first made a major discovery, one of my majors. I told you I was very angry, and I knew I had this potential to kill. And I told you the joke about, I probably still have it, a T-shirt with two vultures, and one says to the other, "I'm bored. Let's go out and kill something." I just thought that was a great T-shirt. I never wore it, but I'm sure it's still in my drawer someplace. I loved it. Uh, that's me. Okay, but because I was being pushed a lot too often with this anger kill, I thought, man, that's not. I can't continue to do that. I'm going to get carried away and really hurt somebody. Uh, so I sat with it. And I sat with it. And I went through different stages with it. Finally, I hit a stage where it was very powerful. But you know what? It didn't have an axe to grind. It wasn't angry at anybody. It was just power. Whoa. Okay. But that power pushing me became anger. I want to kill somebody. But it itself was just power. So it's kind of that same thing. Okay. So one of your main qualities may not be power. That was mine. Yours might be something else, or the mixture is different. Let's say there are, in the big picture, four major qualities, if we would. Uh, our mixes are all different. Okay. In our paint mix, I have a little more yellow and blue than you do. You may have more green and whatever. That's fine. That's what makes us individuals. That's what makes me, me, and you. Okay. So you're allowed those variations. Uh, Again, I think I've mentioned a lot of senseis don't know this. They want you to look like them. And it's like, no, they're showing you themselves at a fair mix, depending on the guy or the teacher, depending on the person. And I would rather teach people to find their own mix than to try to get them to mimic my mix. My mix is very interesting, but it's my mix. I'll show you how I got there and stuff, but I'm not asking you to get to my mix. Get to your mix. So Cynthia even warned me about that. Nadeau, I'm grateful that you love me and all that stuff, but don't try to be me. You have your own. Okay. Okay. So to settle longer, deeper, following a trajectory, lineage is the right word. If you want to do, if you don't have I giggle inappropriately or I cry too much or whatever, then just, hey, I want to settle and hang out with qualities. Qualities that later show emotional. You can fine tune it a bit that way. and you just settle and open and settle and open. You'll eventually get to that dimensional destination, which is here, by the way. It's dimensionally here. It's not over there or over there. It's all here. Okay. Again, oh sensei, don't go anywhere. It's here. Right? Oh, no, it's up there. No. It's here, but it's finer dimensional here. So the origin of emotionalities is a great pool of energy that we call qualities. And you can head in there, you can soak in there, and then you can play after a bit with the character that gets mixed up. Okay? Did we cover that enough with my EQ? Let me go over that one more time. One more, Miss. Gotcha. I wish you could have seen. He should roll away. I wish you could have seen how much movement O-sensei did. Okay? It wasn't just he knew something. He would partake of it. O-sensei would say, put it in your body. Okay, he would partake. He'd be in something, doing something. Okay? So again here, boom, I'd like to do a better EQ. Easy, settle. Now the energy pool here, sense feeling, sense mixing, kind of a play the game, not play the game, play the game, breathe it, sense experience it, play the game. I feel thicker. Thicker does Ikkyo. And then I continue, go back into there, settle and open, same level or a little bit better, I don't care. Whatever's here, energies in relation to EQing, easy, and I open and mixing, mix up a better body. I feel straighter and my back feels broader. I feel a little heavier. I don't feel like I'm a lightweight, but I feel substantial here. Boom, boom. Oh, sorry. Missed that. Boom. Okay, you're right. Okay, thank you. Off stage, Miss Katja. I don't know. How do we do with that?
Sensei, this is Lauren.
Yeah. Yes, Lauren.
A number of people have asked the question. You bring up this idea of emotional wounds from your childhood or from whatever. How can people are asking, well, is the Houdini trick rather than untying the knots, sinking to a different dimension? Is that a way to heal? No, the key word is Aikido and healing of these emotional wounds. Can you speak to that, please?
Okay. I'm just bringing up the emotional wound because if I ask you to settle, you may start to feel those wounds light up because you're getting closer to the source or the source, and you may not want to settle because your old wounds light up. Okay.
Yes.
Lauren, come back on me. I remember, piece of a question at a time. It's not though. I'm kind of dumb. I think I'm getting Alzheimer's here, so you can't get too far ahead of me.
Is there a suggestion or a process or a hint about how to process or heal those in the Aikido context?
Okay. Now, I don't want to go into every one. God knows how many we have. And if I were a therapist charging you $200 an hour, I'd say, oh, yes, let's do that because I'm going to make a bundle of money. I ain't going there. I don't think you have to go there. I know you don't have to go there. Unless you want to go there and fun around, whatever, your dead puppy that got run over. When we hit this level and we get a mix, our whole take on all of those things is different. It won't be from this direction feeling those as a 7-year-old or whatever. you're an adult. You've mixed an emotional adult who's not emotional. He's squared away in his qualities. And his take on all this stuff is completely different. You're only going to realize that if you do this. But, oh, let me play with this one and then that one and this one and that one, and I'll make up a few more. Now I'll go into reincarnation. And here comes another 30 of them. Just so you can procrastinate is a potential. I don't want to let go to the more of me. What can I do to procrastinate? So I'm not saying everybody's doing that, but I'm saying that's a potential that will come up with some people. Anything so they don't have to ease the eye. Who am I really? Who was I before I was I? After Bobby is buried and gone, who am I? Do I exist? How do I exist? Where do I exist? That's scary for a lot of people. They're afraid to let go of Bobby to be a better self. Okay. And one way they'll do that is, oh, let me study all these little wounds. Okay. Now, if you want to, you just settle down and you can start to hit those if you use that lineage. Let me feel the emotional things that I experienced as a little kid. Okay, easy. I'm beginning to settle. I want to feel all those emotional wounds. There's my puppy getting run over again. And what else? Oh, I had to hold a rabbit's ears when this guy, I was visiting in the country, I was only, again, a little kid, and he hit that rabbit over the head with a club more than once till it was dead so we could eat rabbit for dinner. Okay, so I held one of the ears and somebody else held the other ear. You got to know, I didn't eat rabbit that night. I'm a Pisces, what can I tell you? So if you want, you can revisit them all. That's fun and games. You got nothing better to do, better than putting on a movie. Sure, go ahead. If you think you're going to clear those and be some perfected being, it's too small. Yeah, it could be fun. Yeah, it could be sort of instructive. Yeah, it may help you with a little something that's been nagging you. But if you do the big one, your whole sense of anything, even those small ones in a certain way don't exist. I don't know how to say this right, but you do the big mix you. And a lot of your sins, there's got to be a Catholic way of saying this, mix yourself into the better unit, self, better character. And the dumb things you did in your earlier years aren't, I don't know what to say, not that important, almost not meaningful in a certain way. Your whole perspective is different. You're going to have to experience that. I don't know if my words will help you, and I'm sure a lot of you will want to fight me. No, I want to feel my it and my ah and my ooh. Fine, if that's what you want to do, I just showed you how to do it. Settle down. Line up to what you want. I want to feel my childhood wounds. Easy, settle. I'm settling into the potential many childhood wounds. Oh, there's my dog getting run over again. It comes up real easy. It must have hit me hard. I'm sure it did. Oh, there's the rabbit. Easy. I just want to feel my old wounds. A little bit about my father. He was an alcoholic, and there's some bad days. Me being ashamed of my father one day because he was half drunk still. Anyway, that one, I remember that one. Yeah, I really wanted to get away from him that day. I dashed off to the movie. Dad, give me some money. I'm going to the movies. I dashed off real quick then when I hang out with him. That touched me. So if you want to do that, go. I just showed you how to do it. Okay. Now, Lauren, back to the question. Because again, Lauren, I forgot the question already. So help me along here.
Just that people are asking, if you talk about settling into calmness, is that really a kind of a way to heal these things all at once without going one by one by one?
Well, it's maybe not the calmness factor, it's where the calmness brings you. It's a travel, I'm using it as a travel vehicle. I don't want to deal with these things, so I go calm so I don't have to feel those things. Now I'd like to begin to feel because I have a sense I'm at a deeper, finer dimension. And then I play the mixing character, who am I really, core self. So I use that as a travel vehicle to get to a finer dimension without having to run into the sharp spears. Okay, the poker up the butt, a la wada, or whatever. It's a trick to pass through those in the that fuller calm. You're not affected by those. Okay. When I first was getting a sense of the darker under, I used to present it like going doggo. You guys familiar with that phrase? Going doggo. And I used to use that word a lot. Down, kind of like a downtime, quiet under, it inferred. And I used to tell my people, I had a big energy meditation group at the time, that it's like we're in floodwaters. And on the surface and closer to the surface, there are barns floating by, dead cows floating by. You got a lot of debris to deal with. But when you go doggo, you go deeper. And there's no barns deeper, no dead cows deeper. They're only closer to the surface. So it was a trick to get away from being run over by barns and dead cows and whatever. Go doggo, go deeper, hush, quiet, get to a finer level. And those barns and dead cows, spears, and old little emotional wounds, you've passed through them to a finer dimension, which mixes up a finer character who has a whole different view on things. I'm sorry, I can't give you any examples, but if you do it, you'll have your own examples. Is that sort of almost acceptable?
Thank you, Sensei.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I'm sort of running out. So do we have any other questions there? I know I see the clock, but
Sensei, we have a question asking about you've been talking about sensing, dropping into calmness and being able to pull up emotions and so forth. But
okay, wait. I don't know if I pulled them up.
My word, not yours.
Settle down. I run into them. Okay.
I stand corrected, of course.
No, just sometimes words can be very important because you could steer somebody in the wrong direction with certain words. Go ahead.
And so the question is whether this explains also why it's possible to feel a person's temperament or their sort of personality when you train with them, even before you talk with them. That this same process leads to that additional or increased sort of sensitivity for other people's emotions. Do you find that to be linked?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I sort of lost the question. So you've got an uke partner.
Someone is noticing, the person is noticing that
Nage notices
that Uge's temperament, even before Uge does anything, early sensing of another person's emotional situation, condition.
Okay.
And the question is that linked? They're noticing that phenomena, right?
Oh, you're just sensitive.
Yes, that's the question. Is it the same sensitivity, do you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, of course, as you settle down and whatever, you might get more sensitive. You might be, this is a basic. In a class, I have people settle down, and it's not unusual to have a few people say, oh, I know I'm settling down because suddenly my vision has expanded. I'm not just looking at one or two guys. I can see half of the room now. just settling down, their vision improves. Settling down, your sensitivity to other people's emotion improves. The potential is endless there. You have a million different ways of being sensitive or psychic. That's wide open. You'll all have your own capabilities there as you settle and open up more to be sensitive or psychic or whatever. Yeah, that's a natural, of course. Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. By the way, Sensei said emotional warriors were for shit.
Please explain.
If you get over emotional, you're a lousy warrior. Forget about it. He thought they were a joke. So if you emote your techniques or get too that way about your techniques, you're a goner. So Sensei said. Did you follow that, Lauren?
Yes, sir. And so is the implication that one should...
I just threw it out as to kill time and information. But go ahead. Say what?
Well, so is it a matter of being dispassionate? Or
No. Don't go there. Don't go there. Okay, I won't have any emotions. I'm not telling you to do that, people. Okay? I'm not telling you not to care, not to whatever. I'm saying, but let's get to a finer dimension. So the reality. I say, well, no, this is real. I say, no. This is more real and is even more real. Don't stay up here and go, yay, nay. Or that person gushes. I lock up. I'm not going to feel shit. Don't go there. Don't go there. I'm not telling people to do that. I'm saying in a finer dimension, we'll all function finer as a finer character with a better sense of self. That's the game. I'm not making up a bunch of rules here. Oh, maybe don't try to be too dumb or something. Pay your taxes. The government will get you if you don't. But I don't want to make these hard rules like don't do that, do this. No, all I'm saying is a better dimension, mixing up you with your core self as the core of it. Everything should be a bit better, okay? The world around you, if we just use that as character, the situation around you should start to harmonize also. It's always been trying to, but when you get a better sense of self, you'll notice the better sense of the realm. That's where center circle, right, Mary? That's where center circle is a nice pattern, along with the other patterns. They're all nice. But center circle infers I'm a better character and I'm better, and the realm is better with me. Right, Mary? Lauren, are we okay so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Katya, do you have something to add? Because I need a couple of minutes here. No. Let's go back.
Pretty much at break time if you're ready for a break, Bob.
Yeah.
You got 5 minutes otherwise. I mean, you go, of course, your schedule.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to take a break, give people a chance to think about questions. Yeah, that'd be fine. Let's take max 5 max. Okay. I'll be back short of 5. Okay.
Thank you, Sensei.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Sensei, for your wisdom. I'm wondering about that oval in the green line there. And
that little thing, that little egg on the bottom.
Yeah, the egg on the bottom.
And there's a question about the green box on top, as long as you're talking about
yeah. Okay, I could have gone into the Dusty, wait a moment, let me cover the green box. I was going to talk a little bit more about the character and that I think a lot of people, I'm going to have to stand and move a little bit. Is this okay? Am I
Yes,
visual? It's okay.
no problem.
That, again, this piece called character is really very important. And so in the energy mix, it remixes a better character. If he's fuller, it's not an outward fuller, so I'm not trying to use my outward sense. It's an inner fullness. Something maybe Napoleon had, little fella, but I'm sure when he stood there, he filled half the room up, I'm sure. Because he had this inner thing, I would imagine. So anyway, so we want to mix up a fuller character. I'll give them different names. A squared away character, meaning he's comfortable with these energies and these energies, and he's got his core self in the middle of this character. It's almost like the fuller character protects this this core self, true essence you. It's like a protective body around this egg, which is more than an egg. It's eventually a very fine, pure self. So I think this thing of character, I don't know if that's known or noted by a lot of people. I don't remember my earlier studies of the spiritual formats, if that ever really came up as clearly as I see it now. So I think I put that square there just to represent, as we mix up better, be squared away, not as an idea, as an experience. None of these things should be used as just the idea of it, other than, yeah, you can have an idea on it. Yeah, you can muse on it, but you haven't done the full thing yet. You've got to sit and partake of it. There has to be this inner mix, you self character. So that's why I put that up last week to bring out the character. And again, it's an important word. We may have to, on a different Friday, even spend 15 minutes making sure that sense is clear to people. Is that okay to the person that asked about that one? Dusty, you asked that. Are you happy with that?
Yes, Sensei, what about the egg on the green line on the bottom?
I think I did that drawing last week for something else probably. I was just facilitating tonight by using an old drawing. It could represent a good positioning at the base, if you would, of whatever level you're at. A good positioning. You really want to, you don't want to be a visitor. See, when you first settle and open up, in a certain way at first and you kind of see it or sense see it. You're a visitor, you're checking it out, but you're not finished yet. You got to settle in there more, breathe it, soak in. Oh, Sensei likes soaking. Soak in it. Then in my terminology, I call that getting your green card. You've been there for a while. You're starting to establish a place. You have a green card, but you're not finished yet. Fuller and deeper of that dimension that you're in. Each dimension has a floor, so I use floor levels often. And when you're fully in that dimension and you can sense, feel the floor of it, that's an important spot. There, you really want to be the character, knowing you're going to be a full character. That's why Sensei used the word root more than once, but not of things. And there are many levels of roots till you hit an ultimate root. There's a root to the whole universe. Very important place, especially in the form that we use, where we highlight the character as opposed to screw the character. I'm going into this upper brighter format. That root is very important word there. So I think that sort of just represented that. Don't be happy just being an observer of. Get a green card. Don't be happy with a green card. Become a full-blown citizen of I am an American. Okay, kind of thing. With your feet well rooted. Okay, Dusty, you okay with that?
Yeah, I like that. I like that visiting room concept. Makes sense. Go in there and test it out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because any dimension, I think when you first are starting to be aware of a different dimension, there'll be a lot of looking at it, looking around, and a lot of the folks would misunderstand it, think because they can see it, they got it. And they haven't breathed it. They haven't, they don't have that within themselves. Or, oh, said they put it in your body. Okay. He didn't mean the physical body by this time because the dimensions are sort of can show very big, but still in your body. Okay. Yeah. Where are we, Lauren?
Sensei, we have another question from Andrew about emotional content and emotional levels. And Andrew, if you would unmute and speak up.
Sure. Hi, Sensei. This is Andrew from Aikido Sensei. So,
Recognize voice.
So how should I say this? Okay, so there's a two-part question.
Okay, one part first.
Going through the levels. So let's say going through level 1, 2, 3, so on, and so forth.
Okay.
Do you encounter different emotional wounds, say from different parts of your life?
I don't know. Do it. Find out. Let me know. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe after you go through all of your childhood wounds and whatever, as you continue that pattern, maybe you'll trigger into reincarnation pattern where you're picking up wounds from past lives. You do it. Let me know how it goes.
I will.
So I say yes, quite possible. Play with it and see. Some of these things I don't fine tune that much because they're not that important to me. I want to give you a map and point you out a direction, but it's not like I hang out with my childhood wounds. That dog thing only came up this week because I was getting ready for this. And I said, hey, give me an example. Boom, there it was. It's not like I major in some of these things, but I know where they are. I know how to get there. If I have to major, I know how to do it. Mm-hmm. So, yes. Yeah, good question. Play with it. Keep me informed. Next, the second part of the question was?
Second part is, let's say you go to an emotional wound. Let's say maybe I'm just going to use the word make peace. I can't think of a different word. Let's say you make peace with it, transmute it, release it. Would you be...
Okay, hold it for a moment. Again, correction on words. You don't transmute it.
Okay.
You don't change it. You open and clear so the purity and the beauty and the harmony of it can show. You don't stand here and dictate to it. That's starting to be an I dictating. It's like Bobby telling Nadeau how he should be. What the heck does Bobby know about Nadeau? So careful of the words, but go ahead. One more time on that last question.
Okay, so let's say you open up to like an emotional wound. Would it be like a gateway to the next level, or is that possible?
Potentially.
I'm just putting it out there.
Anytime you experience something at a level, and you've done a fairly full job, you've got your citizenship, even in that smaller thing, it'll naturally want to open up to the next level. So if you've got time, if your whatever hour of sitting is not over and you've got time, you continue to settle and open, and a fullness at one level should then begin to open into the fullness of the next level. That's what we did with a 1 by 2 by 3 by. I tried to have people be fairly full in a 1 by. Mm-hmm. Then it would naturally, the walls that were separating 1 by to 2 by would naturally fall down or not be there. There were paper walls. they don't even hardly exist. We call them the dimensional walls. What are we, membranes? We call them membranes. They're not brick walls. They're thin membranes. Anytime you square away and get full, click, boom, next dimension.
Right.
So yeah, is that okay? Also, I'm a little leery of the way you're using a emotional body. I think you can set yourself up to confuse yourself a certain way. I'm going to settle down into my emotional body, where it's going to be a hell of a lot of emotions there. So what I do is I want to settle down to the pre of emotion. For me, emotional bodies, I go further up. I emote. Okay. Now I want to get to the source of that and see what the hell is really going on. I settle through finer dimensions, and so I come up with the word, oh, these are qualities here. It's not basic energy. Oh, it's a little finer. Oh, they're qualities. And I hang out in a quality pool. If I said I'm hanging out in an emotional pool, that could create some misunderstanding. So careful of your words. Okay. If you want to major in how to emote more, then play with, okay, I'm going to just soak in an emotional body and emote all day long if you want. But I'm not interested in that. Okay. Other than to say to people, what's your major way of emoting, if you would? If you want, you could use that to track back to the great pool of qualities, and it'll mix up a better character who'll have a lot of understanding and just see it quite different, handle it quite different. You do it, you'll see what I mean. But the phrase emotional body already sort of boxes you into an emotional body. Yeah. I know they're just words, but sometimes wrong word can twist you out a bit or something.
And
okay, where are we?
And Sensei, I have another question from Yoshika. And Yoshika, if you unmute.
Yoshika.
Hi, Sensei. So I have a related question about empath tendencies, if you're familiar with that.
Empath, is that a known psychological word?
I don't know, but I'll give you an example.
All right.
So I enjoy coming to these classes, and one of the reasons is when I log in, I like the vibe, I suppose, of the group here, and I find myself settling and kind of grounding. For example, I'm a preschool teacher, and teaching is not the greatest profession to be in right now. And we had a class, we had a staff meeting, and everyone's very kind and was very pleasant. But as soon as I logged in, it was kind of like these, I felt these, I guess, negative forces. I don't know. It's the opposite of what happens when I come to this class. I turned off my video and I participated, but I was trying to.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me jump in. It sounds off the top, if I miss it, catch me, I'll continue. Like certain people vibe weird, let's say, or at certain times, certain group will vibe weird, which sounds like what you're saying about the teachers getting together. They're vibing weird because they're all upset and they're worried about their jobs and if they have to teach, when they're going to teach, how they're going to teach, whatever. Yeah. And this group, fortunately, I hope it continues, are a little more settled. So the group vibe, even on a Zoom, apparently, the group vibe is a little easier to hang out with because they're a little more settled. That would be my take. We're affected a lot by group vibe.
Okay. Yeah? So my question is,
basic. Go ahead.
Is that like me being in a 1-by-1? If I were in a finer dimension, would I be less?
It's what you want to do. You want to, let's say they're vibing weird, use the phrase. oh, I better vibe weird because everybody else is vibing weird. What are you doing? Where are you going to go with that? You do the best you can to be a better level of you, even though they're weird. That is your practice. That is my practice. An attacker is weird. I mean, a real attacking guy is weird in some form or other. Am I going to get weird with him? Or am I going to be at a better level and hopefully harmonize his attack to my benefit?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, group 5 can have a lot of effect. There was a teacher at Esalen. I remember we had a variety of teachers come through there, and she was a psychic of some type, pretty good. And I remember listening to some of her students of the week or weekend, whatever it was. Somebody say, Jesus, they felt they were experiencing more psychic capability just being in the room with her and the other people. It's like her very presence of being psychic heightened their ability to be psychic. So it didn't surprise me that they noticed that and were saying that. It should be so.
Right.
Should be so. Yeah. You know how everybody talks about whatever her name is. Mom? The Great Lady of Love.
I don't know.
Indian Ma is, what's her name? Whatever. Anyway, Great Lady of Love. And when you enter that room, you're just soaking in love. Like, yeah, should be so.
Great.
I think you're talking about Amma.
Amma. I use a ma someplace. Amma. Should be so. Right? Now, some people don't have the ability of feeling different things. I remember one, just side story for fun. I was giving a class. I was on stage, all strangers, and I could feel somebody very sensitive in those days. A lot of meditating. Right? I could feel somebody scan me, not just scan around me, but go inside me and scan me to see what level I was coming from. Is how I felt that. And they went in a click, and then they went in another click, and they went in another click, and then they stopped and then pulled out. And I wanted to say, you only came into me 3 clicks. That's not the inner finer of me. There's more here. I didn't, but that's sort of what I wanted to do. But see how they may have thought, oh, he's at that level. It's like, no, that's the only level you could pierce. You never pierce my finest level. So, don't know if that does anything for you.
It's a great story.
Lauren, how are we doing?
I think we're doing great, Sensei. And maybe Mike Ashwell wants to speak up.
Yes, Mike.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that, Lauren. I was just making the observation, Sensei, that I certainly feel your presence and energy over this Zoom call, which took me somewhat by surprise in the beginning that we would have that level of connection.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too, about that.
Yeah,
and if I should do anything a little bit different to enhance that. I didn't do anything with it, but it did enter my mind to mull up it one day.
It's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. And it makes it a much more, it's not like watching a video. It's a different experience. In other words, watching the recorded versions, I find on YouTube, which I have a couple of times, doesn't quite have the same impact as coming into the live session. So there is definitely something there, something there.
And Mike, could you open up your camera so we can see you when you speak?
I can open up the camera, Lauren, but then you can't hear me. My internet connection is so bad. Well, I'm honestly not hiding, but my internet connection is so bad.
Lauren, remember you're talking to New Zealand here. They're a little, you know, the sheep have taken over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's bad enough. But then the fact is, I live in the country in New Zealand, which just makes it altogether difficult.
Oh.
I have my pictures stored on my profile, but it just won't show in these sessions, and I don't know why.
Well, it's just wonderful that you can come in from all the way from New Zealand. We'll speak louder so you can hear us all that far away.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you very much, Bob. These sessions have been amazing, really amazing. Thank you.
Lauren, how are we doing?
Sensei, you mentioned a minute ago about the presence you felt with O-sensei. And
It would vary the styles where he was at, but go ahead.
well, I don't know if everybody is aware that O-sensei was only 4'11".
Little fella.
And so how did it feel to be in the presence? You talked about Napoleon, filling half the room. What was the sense, your experience about O-sensei? Did you feel like he was short, or when you were on your back on the mat, he felt like he was 10 feet tall?
It's almost like usually, I don't remember his height size. Touching me, or me noticing it. It's not like I remember saying, "Oh my God, he's really small." So maybe my sense was more of his the outflow from this core self that he had. Maybe I was more in tune or affected by that. I don't remember going, "Oh, he's just a little fella." So let me tell a story again that may fit in here. I'm not sure. It happened so many times through the years. I'm on a mat teaching, whatever, and I step off the mat, and it'll be not usually one of my regular students, but somebody who's visiting or something. And so many times they've said to me, "Oh," when they see me off the mat, "Oh, I thought you were bigger." When I was on the mat, apparently I looked bigger. Get off the mat, I go back to screw them all. Where's my wine? You know me. And I move or whatever. But they would see that difference. So maybe something like that in relation to what you're talking about.
Yes, probably.
Or the time I'm in the washroom, which is part way between his residence and the dojo, and I'm washing my hands or face or something, and he walks by, and I think, "Oh my God, is he angry?" Because they're just boom. And then after a moment, I thought, "No, it's not anger. What the hell is that?" So I went back to the dojo entryway, and Mexico City, Curita, who was a deshi at the time, knew he had to uke for O-sensei. And I said, "What's up?" Because O-sensei was just boom. And he said, "Well-known martial artist is going to visit." And by the way, Kurita, who knew he had to be uke, was shaking. When O-sensei went into boom, watch out. That is a lot of power and other stuff. We said power for everything. Nobody said, "Oh, wow, look at O-sensei. He's so harmonious. Look at those ukes fly because he's so harmonious," or whatever. We just naturally use the word power because that's sort of how we saw it. So a lot of people misunderstood. Well, O-sensei had power, but what about love? Or what about harmony or something? That's just a word we use for whatever he did. So anyway, he was he had apparently mixed up that in case the famous martial art visiting was going to call him out. And this was a whoa guy. So that was fascinating to see and experience. Yeah. And, different days, he'd be at a different level. He'd refer to himself as, "Oh, you mean this old man?" And what he was in sense saying, "Oh, you mean Bobby," is sort of my way of reading that. This old man. When he said Ueshiba of Aikido, in a certain way, watch out because you're going down. Okay, that was a whole different level of being. But he acknowledged that we're in a human condition. So, okay, I'll be a normal human being and I'll call him this old man. Okay, but in a split second, he could do this thing or have this thing happen or be partake of this thing, which is what we're trying to lay out to folks step at a time here. Okay, does that help any? Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sensei.
Sensei.